Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up, peeps? In this episode, we have the Distillery Brothers, where we talk about our first experiences with liquor and spirits, as well as how our palates have grown over time.
Yes, and we also dive into how they even got started with the idea of creating their own TV show, as well as an important and friendly reminder of not drinking and driving. Let's go. Coconut.
Fire.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Roberto Guido.
And my name is Marissa Lewis.
And together we are
the Dos Cocos Locos.
And welcome to our podcast.
So our goal with this podcast is to drop as much coconut fire, which is our way of saying life/business knowledge bombs, for creatives that don't necessarily know much about life or business, through conversations with one another as well as with other fellow creatives and dope people.
Our story has a lot of twists and turns, but basically we started by selling coconuts at the beach, and now we have our own photography and videography business. And it's through these conversations that we were able to really learn how to navigate this thing called life. Enjoy. All right, what's up, guys?
What's up, peeps?
So welcome to another episode of Dos Cocos Locos podcast. Today we got the Distillery Brothers up in the house.
Thank you.
Super excited.
Exciting stuff.
Appreciate y'all having us. No, that's exciting for us. The Dos Cocos.
Yeah, the Dos Cocos.
That's a tongue
Locos
twister.
podcast.
Yes,
I tried
it
on the way over.
Dos Cocos Locos.
The Dos Cocos Locos podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us.
There we go, man. So we just like to start every podcast with this question, and then we do conversation, and then we just end it with another question. And so that's basically how we do it. Very relaxed, super just conversation based. You guys, I was just kind of like observing you guys kind of going back and forth, and I'm like, dang, what you guys are gonna do with what we're gonna talk about in a second? It's gonna work because like you guys just bounce off each other really well, so it's gonna be cool.
I like to call us the new Laurel and Hardy.
Okay.
You ever seen the?
Yes.
Like you have like
exactly
the shorter fat dude and the tall skinny dude. So it's kind of reverse. Like I'm the tall fat guy, he's the short. Well, it's almost like twins. I guess twins would be better. Well, no, because Danny DeVito was short and fat.
Yeah, you were stretched out Danny DeVito. I can see that. And I'm like a really miniature Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like if you put me around smaller people, I'm huge.
You don't have 22-inch biceps. You got the 2-inch biceps.
Nah, but we're working on it.
I get that.
Absolutely.
You're working on it.
I'm working on it. Yeah.
Damn,
those burrito curls.
I actively avoid the gym just to maintain that contract.
Right.
So the work that I have to do
that makes sense.
Exactly.
It's actually more work.
Yeah, if I did a half a push-up, I'd catch up to him, and the contrast wouldn't work. It's not the same. It's not the same presence that we're trying to get across.
Nice.
Can't have the same goal.
Dang. But so the question we like to start everything with is in one sentence, and since it's two of you, you kind of like combine it.
Okay.
What is it that you do, and you can also incorporate what you're like
planning on doing.
Yeah, future plans on what you're trying to do together.
In one sentence?
In one sentence. So it can be as long or as short as you want.
It can be a run-out.
Yeah.
So we can run
and you guys can combine on top of each other since there's two of you.
Kick it off. I'll find the period. This is what we do.
Yeah.
This is what
and we're planning to do.
I mean, what we do right now in regards of like what our current day job is.
Whatever you want to let the audience know.
Would like to specify.
Yeah.
I will do it in the confines of the Distillery Brothers.
Okay.
That's a dope question, though.
Yeah,
I'm sure it gets everybody. Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's like, wait, what? What do I gotta say?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think as of right now, we are creating a show, and we're trying to get it up right now for everybody to see and to bring stories. Right now, that's what we're chasing. I mean, I'm online every night chasing stories down and trying to find these interesting stories to tell the world and trying to get it put out there. And in that, me and him are looking to create a whole new. We're looking to bring entertainment back. I think we've gotten away with a lot of entertainment, and we're in a world of superheroes and in a world of remakes. And with me and him, I mean, the creative mind, him coming from his background of being in the arts and things like that, and me kind of getting into, we came up with a lot of good stuff to kind of bring the world. And I like to think of it as more of storytellers and bringing stories to the world that people haven't heard before. And that's what we're trying to do. And hopefully this is the Distillery Brothers, the stepping stone for those stories to come out.
That was dope. So we'll do it in reverse because he told you where we're gonna go with it.
Yeah.
Where we're at right now is people live life and enjoy their life around these spirits, around having a drink and just unwinding. What we want to do is take those moments and show you what it took to create the backdrop for those moments. The backdrop just being, let's have a couple drinks. But it took 5 to 10 years for those spirits to turn into moonshine, to be bottled, to be placed in a barrel, to figure out how the sauce. How do we reverse engineer that the same way we just did that answer to that question, I guess. So it starts with 2 friends that have known each other the better part of 10 years and went from drinking Jack Daniels to Crown to having a more mature palate and figuring out, okay, I just don't want to get bent. I want to enjoy the small nuances of whatever we're drinking. And then you end up talking real hoity-toity with a good friend about, man, I really enjoy this bottle more than just having a couple shots. I enjoyed it to the point where I want to find out where it came from and why is it different than this bottle and different than this bottle. And then having that be the backdrop of good conversation. And then connecting with people the same way we've all done together, us 2 and us 4, sitting around and bringing that till eventually we can tell our story, and then tell the stories that we want to.
You know, the funny thing is
did we get it though? That was rough. That was a long sentence.
I think that's the record for the longest one, but I think that was like the most.
It had the most content. I feel.
Yeah. No, you know, it's funny is, you know, me and him, you know, we've been friends for a while, but I think the past 6 years, we've gotten a lot closer to, I mean, it's almost an inseparable, I mean, we're texting each other, we're just whatever, but, you know, you know, this whole taste for bourbon and whiskey and, you know, other type of cocktails, you know, it started to slowly to progress because eventually I think I brought over Eagle Rare to, my family has a farm in Kentucky. And we went to all these different distilleries, and I fell in love with Eagle Rare that's made by Buffalo Trace. He said, Eric, you gotta try this. And I finally found a bottle because it's finally started selling down here. I brought it over. He loved it. So then eventually he started calling me. I was like, hey, what are you drinking right now? Like, what are you sipping on right now? Because I don't know what to do. And I'm like, all right, well, here's a couple of ones. This one might have more of a smoky flavor. This one might have a real sweet flavor. You might have a little bite at the end of this. You know, don't mix that with Coke, or else you know you're going to taste as sweet as syrup. And I mean, yeah. And the next thing you know, we'll make it like once a month. We'll show with a different bottle, sit down, and maybe have a cigar.
Because living on opposite sides. Even that, we met each other somewhere in high school, but didn't go to the same high school. So we had, like when he says 6 years, we ended up doing that by accident. We very close mutual friends, and then ended up with a group of friends, but we had only crossed paths because of those connections. So we went from, I want to say 18, 19 to, by the time we were in our 21s, whiskey. And then whiskey, I was told you go from whiskey to bourbon to scotch. So I tried scotch, and it was terrible. I wasn't ready. It was like your first time drinking beer. Like,
whiskey to bourbon to scotch. Yeah.
Or so like getting into the whiskey.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us, where are you at right now? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Remember your first time drinking beer?
Yes.
Like as a kid, and you're like,
and
it
so
was
much.
disgusting.
I thought it was like piss water. It was like so bad. Like it didn't matter like what kind I had. It was just bad. Like all of it was just fizzy, bad.
You're in high school, you're like trying to like chug it down. You're like, I'm trying to stay with a cool kid.
Do you remember your first time wanting a beer? Like I could go for a beer?
No.
Maybe.
I do.
Yeah, but 20s.
Yeah.
20s when I got into craft beer.
Yeah.
Like my craft beer started with Sam Adams.
See, I'm from Massachusetts, so we definitely had Sam Adams. Yeah. But tell me why I'm curious. On like whiskey to bourbon to scotch, where are you at right now?
Oh, we're definitely in the whiskey.
Okay.
Branch.
Okay. How are you drinking it?
But I don't know. We really don't drink that much whiskey. Like we really don't drink that much liquor. Like I drink more wine than I do anything else.
Okay.
I would say.
What kind of wine?
Just red wine, red blends.
I love it. That's what it says. When do you drink white wine? When you're out of red. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're out of red. That's funny.
Pinots or Merlots?
I like Merlots. There's one that I really like. Moscato, red, like any kind of red blend is just good.
In the house we're drinking it's from Spain, I'm gonna butcher this. It's a Rioja.
Okay.
Have you tried it?
Nope.
Okay.
That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to shout any places to get it because they're not sponsoring this right now. But definitely
Oh, but I gotta check it out.
Yeah, but they will. I'm gonna show you some brands when we sit
Yeah,
down.
just like send me a picture of the bottle.
Yeah,
Figure it
it's
out.
a Rioja. There's a couple other good ones out there, but
That
it's a
sounds
nice
good.
blend.
Yeah.
And you can pick up a really slamming bottle for like 12 to 15
That's not
bucks.
bad.
It's like right around. Yeah.
I feel like it's a good price range because you
Yes.
can actually find like a really good bottle for the price.
Yeah.
Like, not just like a cheapie.
Yeah.
And
We're still learning.
I used to, because I used to, I think we all do it. Like you kind of clown box one. 'Cause you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
expect, you know what I mean? Like we used to joke and be like,
But
oh,
listen, there's
see?
some
Talk
box
to 'em.
wines
Talk to 'em.
that are not bad. Like,
Yes.
that are actually pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Like, my mom has bought some box wines,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, this came from the
Yeah.
fridge in a box. Like, what?
because I've had my
Yeah.
aunt and I'm clowning her and I'm like, what are you doing with your box wine? She's like, so you don't want a glass? Yes, hell yeah, I want a glass.
Yeah, I want
I'm
to
gonna make funny on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make fun of you while I'm drinking it. That's true.
Wine as a whole has gotten better as the soils changed, from what I've heard in California, and even box wine, as funny as it sounds,
getting better.
Yeah, but the boxes are getting better.
Boxes are not bad.
That's why.
So try the box wine.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're not here to talk
And try
about wine.
whiskey.
Though. Yeah,
Yes.
whiskey.
Yeah, no, but if it happened organic, I
Yeah.
respect the whole thing.
No, because y'all do, because y'all were drinking old fashions.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
But
I think for me, go
ahead.
I think for me, when I branched, because like Crown Royale, that's a whiskey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think for me, my dad would always have like that like purple bag.
Mhm.
He would save it. And I don't
Yes.
know, he would just like put it like his
Yeah.
receipts
That's
in
a
there.
staple.
And I'm like, dang, that bag just looks cool. So
Yes.
when I grew up, I remember one time I literally went out of my way. I'm like, I'm just gonna buy one because I'm like, I'm 21, I can buy one now. And I bought it. I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. But like, I don't think my palate was there. If I were to drink it again, I'm like, all right, like I would appreciate it more because I like now I know like
How'd you
That's
drink
true.
it? How'd you drink it?
I think it was with that and Coke because like
Okay.
yeah, I was back in college, so I was just mixing everything with Coke because I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know what I was doing.
Absolutely.
Everything with
Yeah.
Coke.
Everything was
Yeah.
no matter what it was.
Yeah.
Nope.
A light bulb just went off
Yeah.
that I think I kind of set my son up with a predisposition for Crown because he's growing up with all those bags. He's
Oh,
growing up
yeah.
with like purple bags.
No,
with
yeah,
those-
yeah,
That's his first thing he's
something-
gonna
Yeah,
buy.
like he doesn't know. He's just playing around with
Yeah.
little purple bags,
Yep.
and
And
then
Now
he's
he
gonna
wants
see it one
that.
day. He's like, oh, like my dad had that. Yeah.
What's the first thing you drank straight?
straight.
And how old were you?
Like the first thing straight.
First thing straight.
I was
On the
I was a different age. I'm not. I don't want to promote that. It was. I was wise beyond my
Yeah.
ears. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
So we were moving down to Florida, and I sat down with the first thing was probably like a Mad Dog 2020. So
Okay.
yeah, we wide open. So let's talk. On Sundays in Massachusetts, there was a time where there was just no liquor sold, so you couldn't buy beer, you couldn't buy alcohol on Sundays.
That's interesting.
Yeah, what it meant was they would have all these bootleggers. They would just buy up alcohol on Saturday night.
Makes sense.
And then you would knock on somebody's door and you'd get the hookup on a Sunday. And that's
Yeah.
what it was. But there'd always be an upcharge.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone in the family, a very close personal friend at the time, rest in peace, he figured out, well, some of these people don't want to go to the store on a Saturday or a Monday or any day in between. So he went from just doing it on Sundays
Doing it every day.
to doing it every day. And it was
Smart.
smooth. It was a smooth
Nice.
operation. Everybody
Smart.
got ID'd
Yeah.
because he wanted to make sure everybody was good.
Yeah.
But it was just easier for them in the neighborhood to just get it from him.
Yeah.
So then he'd sell like lollipops to the kids, and they'd get their like Mad Dog 2020. What it meant was I was raised with 2 fridges in that house,
Yeah.
and every once in a while you'd kind of sneak into that other fridge. So Mad Dog 2020 was probably the first one because it went down like Kool-Aid.
That's not
If you say
really-
hard liquor, the first time was
Kool-Aid.
No,
Yes.
I'm talking about whiskey. I'm talking about like
tequila.
vodka.
Then it was
I'm talking
tequila.
Mm.
My brother and his friend had a bottle right before we were moving down. So I probably was like 13, 14. That's when it was like real, like, let's go for it. And they had a bottle, and I was talking like I was big. And they said, we're going to do like we did. When they had graduated high school, he got some time on me, older wise. And they said, we're going to make it to the end of the bottle. And I was like, hell yes.
That's good.
I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah,
To the
makes
table.
sense.
And I think I made it like 2 shots in before everything came out, and I was just passed out
Yeah.
on the bed, regretting, and with the age old, like, I'm never gonna do this again, ever.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was the
We've
first
all
time.
been there.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I did not make
Definitely
it to the
been
end of the
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
college.
See?
I think it was tequila.
about.
I think you were there.
Yeah, well, the splitting shots. That had like
Yeah,
tequila. And
that
like,
was just-
yeah.
Tequila, see?
Yeah.
Tequila does some things to you.
I like tequila though. Like
I respect tequila.
if I was going to take a shot, it would be of tequila.
That's usually my go-to. Because you know where you stand after that tequila shot.
Yeah.
No.
Like that's the barometer for where your night's gonna go.
So then where did Irish whiskey come from on last Wednesday? Like that
Oh.
big gulp of nonsense. You ordered everybody like
Oh yeah.
nonsense. It was like, hey,
Like,
shot.
oh my God, what is this?
Yeah, and all of a sudden he comes up.
Jameson.
It's this much liquor, and it's like, what is it? Jameson.
I blame that entirely on the waitress. I asked her what. No, real shit. I asked her what is the good tequila, and she whispered in my ear, she's like, "We don't have any."
Oh.
I'm like, okay, what would you recommend as a shot? Because I wouldn't normally drink whiskey as a shot, and she brought. She brought.
Those
like
were
a
like
half.
massive
It didn't make sense. Yeah, that's what happened.
They don't have tequila
glasses.
She said she didn't, and I don't want to. She said she didn't have any good tequila.
Okay.
So I was in good company. I didn't want to give everyone shitty tequila.
I was about to.
Right.
That
makes sense.
That's some branding right there. Like,
Right?
No, we don't sell anything.
We only sell whiskey.
Yes. No. She said we have it, but it's not. That's not what we're here for. So okay.
Makes sense.
So let's kind of backtrack a little bit, or forward track. I'm not sure which way. So what exactly are you guys trying to do? So for the audience, because we know, because like.
Let's talk more about the show.
This is how it happens.
Because we know what's going on.
Okay. I'll kick it off and then you knock it down.
Sure.
So we went to go see a good.
That was nice.
Because we flipped it. So
Yeah.
we went to see a very good mutual friend of ours that we've known for the better part of 10 years as well. That's like how we got connected. Who moved to Alabama, and from there we went to Tennessee. And in Tennessee they had this thing called the Whiskey Trail, where there's so many distilleries that you could go. You get a stamp along the way.
It's cool. Like
So
a
imagine
passport.
like a passport
Yeah,
book.
passport.
Exact same concept. And at the end, if you go to every distillery in along the Whiskey Trail, they'll mail you a T-shirt, and it's just something for tourism and things like that.
That's cool.
We had such a unique experience there that we went to a very small distillery and a very large distillery in one day, and we got to see the big differences. So imagine going to like the Coca-Cola of distilleries, and then going to a very small company that, to their credit, they said they do in a year what these bigger companies do in a day.
Wow. Okay.
Damn.
So to see both
Like that
tours.
stark contrast.
Exactly, but to have such a pride in what they do, even on a large scale.
Right.
And working for big corporations, I've seen that sometimes you can lose that connection to what you're doing.
Definitely.
They didn't.
That's true.
These people were very connected to what they're doing on a large scale, so much so that it was relatable on a smaller scale.
That's cool.
But that ended up being a conversation at I want to say on the ride home.
Yeah.
And it turned into, okay, what if there was a gateway to that? What if people saw what we saw? That it takes you 5 to 10 years to take something out of a barrel so you can open up a bottle excited and just have a good time with friends. There's a lot of things that have to happen beforehand.
So that's how it started. It started with just saying, like, yeah, let's just go to whiskey. But then, you start doing research and you realize, like, there isn't necessarily a craft distillery. Because, I mean, you go to all these big ones, that's fine. But, one thing we wanted to really do is stick to the small ones. The small ones that have, like, the story behind, like, what is your story before you were a distillery? What did you do and what got you here? And if you look at those distilleries, none of them are just specifically rum, or vodka or anything like that. They all have their own multiple.
Right.
Like everybody's now just trying to do moonshine. No matter who you are, you're doing moonshine. One of the reasons is because whenever you're aging your liquor, you're not making any money and you only put out a bunch of costs. Moonshine takes you only a couple of days to make, and then you bottle it and you put it out there and it's done. Unlike you look at rum or whiskey, even sometimes they get aged gin or an aged vodka that's taking at least a year or some odd months before you can do it. So instead of just sitting there just eating all these costs, cool, we'll just make small batch moonshine, shoot it out there, and we're starting to make some money while we're making money here. We'll make money on the back end.
Right.
Country music's starting to get bigger than what it was before, and a lot of that's because it's more of a rockier country than it is anything. And that's what people are starting to do. So when me and Eric started talking, I said, dude, I really haven't found too many just whiskey onlys, And, you know, whenever we go to these places, nobody's going to want to be like, okay, well, I want to just promote whiskey. My whiskey, because I just came out with a new flavor of vodka that I want to try, or that I want people to know about. So I was like, well, why don't we take the focus off of the actual liquor itself and let's tell stories? Let's bring the stories out. But with the stories, we're going to taste their liquor. We want to talk about their liquor. We want to see their unique processes to it, and we want to taste it on camera.
Right.
But let's figure out these stories, and it's amazing the stories that we've uncovered in such a short amount of time, and one of them was so mind blowing that I'm telling everybody who sees it, you know, like JD had a I don't know what I was gonna say. I know we're trying to crown, but I know,
that's probably like the most larger one.
But but you know, he had a mentor who was a slave, and this slave brought what we know as Tennessee whiskey to the market. Like it was his recipe that did it, and nobody knew it, and it got lost in translation up until a couple years ago, whenever a novelist brought it out. But it's like this crazy story right here, and then she created her own whiskey with this slave's recipe, and it's brought out. His name was Ernest Green. But it's going around to these small distillers and telling these stories and enjoying the whiskeys and just bringing a whole new look, because it does have a bad rap. And, you know, one thing that we talked about whenever we were going to do this show is, if we want to bring a new name to it, we definitely got to make sure that we promote safe drinking and driving.
Yeah.
Right.
So one thing we want to do at the end of every show, after we've done our tour, we've done our tasting, is drive away in some type of we're not driving.
Right.
Because, you know, we don't, you know, we want everybody to get home safe, and, you know, we don't want the DUIs out there.
And even just on a very real level, it ended up being mature drinking.
Yeah.
Right.
And like as you grow, you end up doing that, where it's not like let's just go and get fucked up.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
let's actually let's
enjoy it.
The alcohol ends up being the backdrop. So you have this great time, and you don't end up talking about that. You end up talking about, okay, all the other connections that were made. And it's that on that same train of thought, it was that aha moment that you just had, because that was us. When they told us that moonshine can be created relatively quick, and then it goes into a barrel. It was like, oh shit.
I didn't know that.
That was that moment.
Yeah.
That to me, that's what the show was about. There's a lot of people that we had no idea. And if we could take someone with us on that tour, I'm pretty sure they'd have that same moment that we did. And it just happened. Right. When they told us that, we looked at each other like I had no idea that it goes into a barrel for 5 to 10 years. But they sell the moonshine right away. The company that we went to ended up building their brand off of that. So for 5 years, they had people very interested in their moonshine, to the point where they said, hey, secretly,
we're actually making whiskey.
Yeah, we've had some things in barrels for 5 years. You may be interested in this. And a small company that does less in a year than a Jack Daniel's would do in a year. I mean, in a day, rather.
Right.
They're able to sell their bourbon before it comes out of the barrel. Like, they've already built that base. I was like, that's amazing from a business perspective.
Yeah.
That your product, you've already built.
You're able to sell your product before it's even done.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's
like
cool.
you sold
before
out.
people have even tried it.
Before the album dropped.
Great.
Everything is done.
They're sold out.
Yeah,
wow.
that's it.
They said they said his bourbon sold out 6 months in advance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, their bourbon that's how good it is. The bourbon was sold out, and it's only sold in Tennessee. But their bourbon was completely sold out. We couldn't even try it whenever we were there.
Yeah.
We were able to drink everything else.
Wow.
So to his point of not drinking and driving, is beyond that. Like, really drink responsibly. And not drink responsibly like don't be stupid. I mean, drink responsibly like
appreciate it.
Respect the idea that this took 6 years for you to take that shot.
Right.
It's probably not something you want to slam and let's actually
and that's something you really don't think about. Right. So I think it's cool that you guys are bringing that to the market, where you're like, okay, there's actually a long ass story behind that drink that you're drinking right now. Yeah.
Just to respect the process.
Yeah.
And so many people were involved for you to have that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's something we all right now could go round robin and tell the story of our 21st birthday. To look at it now and think, wow, like so many people had to be employed for me to have that moment of like, I'll never do it again. A lot of people, their livelihoods.
That's true.
Yeah. So the hope is that you
see that.
Drink responsibly. And not just a matter of being safe, but like, no, really respect.
Yeah.
That
The
this
process.
is exactly. So you're working from 9 to 5, and in those small hours between 5 to 9, what you got left is, let me have a drink. And then everything that matters happens.
Right.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That people are employed to give you that small moment before everything that matters happens. That we can kind of get.
That's
a
cool.
cool way to break it down, guys.
I hope we cut it.
That was awesome. All right.
We're going to do a quick little break.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then we'll be back after this.
After these commercial messages.
What's wild is, they didn't have, the term moonshine didn't even come out till Prohibition. Like that.
Do you know who came up with it? Like, why is it called? Oh, yeah.
So,
okay, all right.
Because no, what do you got?
It's under the moon.
Yeah. Because they buried it.
Yeah.
They buried the barrels.
Well, no, because of the fire. The fire from it was the fire to cook it.
I thought that was the proof. What was the story behind the proof?
No.
We're currently talking about the story of moonshine.
Oh, are we back? Are we back? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah, now whatever you make up.
Interested.
Whatever you make up, you got to make this shit confident.
Yeah,
So let me tell
Here
you
we go.
exactly how I think it's made.
Yeah, no. So we're talking about how
The term moonshine.
Term moonshine didn't come out until the Prohibition era, and that's the reason. The reason why is because whenever they're starting to cook it, you throw it to a cloud of smoke. During the day, they were always getting caught. So they said, "Is what we'll do is we'll get up in these hollers and these hills, and at night they're not going to know the difference if it's smoke or if it's clouds." So they made this under
The shine of the moon.
under the shine of the moon, which came out with moonshine. So
Learn something new every day.
Say it again.
So,
Brought to you by the Distillery Brothers and the Cocos Locos podcast. Now you know.
To bring up Eric's point of how proof came about,
So when you say what's the proof of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Isn't that dope?
What does it mean?
Real quick, because he's gonna explain it, but that's to answer it much more concise of what the show is. It's that aha moment.
That I learned something.
I know that there's a term moonshine.
Yeah.
But that aha, that's what it means.
Yeah, that's cool.
Everyone knows that. Yeah, you look for it at a very young age in your drinking career. You're like, well, what's the proof? Why? Because I want to get the most bang for my buck.
Right.
But where did that come from?
Yeah.
And the Distillery Brothers are going to tell you. Go ahead, TJ, talk to
So
that was such a perfect layup.
tag you're in.
That's it.
So moonshine's typically clear. So how do you know the difference between it's water or if it's liquor?
Right.
You don't know. So what they did was, well, even still, it's how diluted is this? So in order to make sure liquor ignites at 70 proof whenever the alcohol content is like 70%, 80%. So it ignites. So that's what they would do. They pour it down the back of the truck or whatever, and then ignite it. If it lit, it was proof that it was good stuff. If it didn't light, it was a bad batch, and somebody might have got shot. All right,
and that's how the story was told to us.
Yeah.
Hey.
Wow.
While you were at one of the
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, at the so a lot of the stories that we've been talking about whiskey actually came from the smaller distillery, and it's actually our favorite. I mean, I want to go back there. Unfortunately, I lost all my moonshine because I put it in the back of my car, and like the cork bottom, the cork's just like ignited.
No.
So whenever I get back there, I just saw like my 100-year-old recipe of moonshine that they sell was like all over the place.
Oh no!
My apple pie was all over the place.
Oh, no.
I was so upset.
Yeah.
The apple pie.
Right.
I know.
It's the apple pie moonshine. We're gonna tell you about that because yeah,
Oh,
it wasn't actual apple pie. It was
What?
apple pie moonshine.
Oh what?
So
No, apple
yes.
pie moon. You
Yeah,
never
no,
had
go ahead. That's the aha
No.
moment. God damn
I
it.
don't think
I'm
I've
telling you,
ever
this is so
had
I feel like we need to
moonshine.
get out of the house more.
Never had moonshine.
No, we.
I don't think I've ever had moonshine.
Oh, we.
Like, I definitely have like those
follow
bottles at like Walmart, but I know that it's not like real moonshine.
No, we're gonna bring you some.
Oh, we're gonna try some stuff.
Yes.
Ah,
yes.
jeez.
We're gonna have to go up there and get this
We're gonna show you
100-year-old.
We're gonna have to go back.
They have the one that it's one of our favorite. You know, they have over 100-and-something-year-old recipe.
Wow.
That actually Al Capone would go to them and meet with them and would sell
What?
the Al Capone. So
Yeah.
Wow.
the man would go and would sell their stuff. I mean, it was wild because if you look at it, it had a different color to it. Like compared to like the new shine, compared to the old shine,
Then.
like it had like I don't know if it had like a yellow or a tin or it had some different color to it, but it definitely burned a little bit. Definitely had a nice little burn when it went down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
We're gonna try some moonshine.
No.
The apple pie, real quick, because this is a very interesting story that we found out when we were going through
Oh, wow, apple pie. So
through the different ones. I'll
Well-
set it out because there's a whole bunch of them in Tennessee. Everyone has their own little version of
Like their
apple
own
pie.
flavor.
So
moonshine. We
right,
didn't
and
know
that's the
why.
thing is apple pie moonshine is very large. That's how the white lighting, which white lighting is just pure, no flavor, no nothing, just. But apple pie, just to kind of set it up, is a very huge. Everybody who makes moonshine
Has an apple pie.
has an
Yes.
apple pie, and the reason is
We saw it
because
consistently. We didn't know why. When we ended up asking, because the one that we had, the one that blew up in his car, was delicious. What they part of the story was
so sad.
that they would make everyone there would make apple cider,
Okay.
and it's culturally that was very common.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's only gonna last for so long. So when you get towards Christmas, what they would do is they would mix the moonshine with the apple cider so it would last a little longer, and then start giving them as gifts. And it ended up a very common recipe. There's some gaps in my story clearly because he's gonna jump in and explain those. But
So because Tennessee only had 2 places that actually had lights in the early 1900s still.
Yeah.
So whenever they're making so like to his point, you know, it wouldn't fall and it was going into winter, the cider was going bad. So coming Christmas time, you know, they would again like he mentioned, they would throw the cider with the shine and throw in a cinnamon stick, and then that's what they would give as gifts. But the reason why the cider was going bad is because at that time there was no electricity. Except for only 2 spots in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So you couldn't refrigerate the cider, so the liquor allowed it to last a little bit longer, and that's why apple pie is such a big deal.
Yeah.
it's so common.
Yeah.
Well, we found when we talked about the whiskey tray, everybody had their own version of an apple pie whiskey, and it was because everyone's making apple cider culturally.
Wow.
And
It was a cultural
So
deal.
you guys gotta go back and bring us some apple pie.
Oh no, hands down.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Now I gotta try
it's-
it. Now I gotta try this
absolutely.
100-year-old recipe.
It's definitely one of the is definitely the spot we're going to go to. If we
And
cross
it's-
our fingers.
it's
If and when
delicious,
we
though.
get picked up,
Yes.
if and when we get picked up, then it is definitely definitely a show because of the history. Again, everything this guy told us. I mean, everything that we've told you is a lot of history that he's filled us in on, and he's such the guy who was selling us. I hope he's still there because he was such an authentic,
Yeah.
like Tennessee good old boy. He's a nice guy, very very nice guy. Everybody up there was great and nice, but he was so authentic and just had his country accent and
The whole thing. This would be a good time to tell that. It happened so organically. We got there. There was a tour at 1:00, and we got there like 4 minutes to 1, and it was just the 3 of us, us 2 and a good friend who we went to go see. He's walking down the hill, and you can see he's like, man, like it was like if you
There's a whole other tour I gotta do.
if you work in retail, it was like 10 minutes to close.
Yeah.
And the guy's coming in trying to buy something. You're like, man, dude, you couldn't have come a long time ago.
This.
He was already sitting down and he
So-
was already up there enjoying probably a little bit of
He offered us he's like, if you want, we could do the whole tour, or we could just go straight to the tasting. So we were like, all right, let's go straight to the tasting. And as we're about to, we're like, that'll give us time to go to the larger distillery. And you can see
And
like
he's like, what?
Exactly.
That's exactly what he said.
What?
Yeah, it was like I felt like we tried it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, you didn't.
Yeah.
So he's like, look, I'll give you like the quick 5 to 10 minute tour.
It lasted 40.
And it lasted like 45 minutes. Yeah.
That's funny.
And it was just because we just all hit it off.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big tour with a whole bunch of people. It was just a small group. That ended up being him going into detail and answering every question that we had. And we were really just kicking it the way we were here.
That's
that was the show.
Mm-hmm.
People need to see that.
right.
People need to see these moments of, wow, there's so much more to it that it to build up to that moment where you crack the bottle.
Right.
And even their processes was different. You know, going to the smaller one, you know, it was so old school. Like, it's this old shack. They even had an old wooden banjo.
Yeah.
Old wooden banjo tape from throw a little concerts. But there was that's it. No lie. And
tumbleweeds.
and you just saw it. Literally saw it. It was literally probably no bigger than this place. I mean, it was just, you know. Then we go to the Jack Daniels one, and you walk in. We couldn't even bring cameras. If you touched your cell phone, they would kick you out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like in this area here, you touch it, you're gone.
Wow.
And to hear the way they told the stories with respect to them, it was very polished.
Yeah.
It was on point. So just to see both worlds in one day,
but
to me,
that's cool.
But you walked into that secret part. Not secret part, but you walked in. You walked in where they're cooking. You walked in where they're cooking everything. And you look over and you see all these computer monitors, like with like pH levels, all this stuff.
Wow.
So it's crazy to see like this little spot over here
and the
that
waste,
did this.
The waste. Just to big up them, they said they're down to
1% waste.
1% waste.
They make it. They turn everything into a profit.
But a company that size to make sure that they are also like you also staying green,
right?
Like you're also making an impact.
You're also thinking about that.
Yes,
right.
and it's ingrained in your employees.
That's cool.
That was amazing.
Yeah, they definitely take care of their employees too.
What was missing to us was all the other stories.
Right.
Like all the, aside from anyone that'll watch this, all the smaller distilleries.
Right.
That have a story and they're sitting at a table like, wow, people don't know how we started.
Right.
They should.
Wow.
Because
that's like I mean, that's a company.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
That's not like I just made a whole ass batch by myself out there.
Right.
Exactly.
In the shack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then there are companies that are much smaller, and it's 4 to 5 people who decided to take what they made out back, legitimize it, bottle it, and they sell it with the same pride that anyone else would sell something that they made and wanted you to enjoy. The same pride that you would take in making that apple pie and hoping somebody eats it. They took that pride in the apple pie whiskey.
That's cool.
It's also want try to promote like a local market. We want to, like not people realize like there's like 8 distilleries here in Tampa.
Really?
Yeah.
See?
Exactly. Really.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Things that make you go.
Yeah.
So but it's bringing that out and also opening people's minds to try something different. If you looked at me and asked me in my early 20s, what were you drinking? If you weren't bringing me JD or Crown, I'm not drinking it. That was my go-to. As I got older, I'm now sitting 30 minutes, 40 minutes in a liquor store. Like, what do I want to try next?
Yeah. Right.
Which are staples for a reason. And as you say that, I'm looking at what you have on the wall. Community over competition. It doesn't discredit one of these bigger distilleries.
No, it's not.
When you bring something smaller to the table, and it really doesn't hurt their pockets. It ends up being a communal conversation of whiskey. You'd have the same conversation with tequila. You'd have the same conversation with all the many vodkas that there are.
Yep.
The many gins. And there's so many different things that you can try. The story behind it is what is really interesting to us.
That's right.
That's cool.
The story behind those 7 distilleries in Tampa Bay.
Right.
That Tampa natives are like, well, I didn't know that. You should.
Yeah.
You should. You should bring it to the table with the same pride that you would any other bottle.
Damn, you're right.
I hear Distillery Brothers dropping knowledge.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Oh,
absolutely.
keep an eye out.
Yes.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yes, please pick it up.
So for the viewers and the listeners, when are you planning on?
What's your timeline?
Like, what's your timeline as far as the ship?
Right now, I know we're still in the very
got
early stages.
Yeah.
Oh, we're looking for the fourth quarter.
We're looking. Well, hopefully we got it. So what we're doing right now is where we're at is we got the money team. That's my term.
The money team.
Money team.
Money.
Got to do the financial batters. So what me and him sat down and talked. What we didn't want to do is we didn't want to settle a network.
Okay.
We decided to get some people together to fund on our own. And then, you know, we'll get all the money off of the branding, similar to what Duck Dynasty does. You know, Duck Dynasty makes like $30 million a year. You know,
Wow.
the family makes a lot of money because all the revenue from everything goes straight to them. After all the production companies are paid, marketing people are
Goes back
paid,
to them.
after all that's paid,
Yeah.
they get the profits.
Right.
That's everything straight to them. And, you know, one thing about, you know, me and him is, you know, we didn't want to sell to a network and change what we want to talk about.
Right.
We don't want you changing this up. We don't want this to be a reality show. We just, this is, you know, more like a docu-series about friends traveling and promoting what we want to promote and do what we want to do. And
even as creatives, we're in a really unique space. And not even us as creatives. I mean, as a community of creatives, we're in a really unique space of artistic ownership on intellectual property. Yeah. And I respected it so much that when these opportunities came along, that's the route that we went. I was like, okay. So the education that we got was like yesterday.
Yeah.
So to drop it off, it's a real each one teach one moment where we were talking about the difference between branded content. And we were educated on, okay, if you have more ownership, by the time you partner with those networks, there's more of an opportunity to recoup some of the revenue.
That makes sense because it's mainly yours at that point.
Yeah, and we're still learning. I don't want to come across as this as something that we're
we're not experts, but it's a lot of stuff to learn because, you know, if first, you know, for instance, if a station did get us up for season 1 and they said, you know what, we're changing our format of our content, you're not fitting in line with this, so we're not going to pick you up for season 2. We're able to shop around for the other networks, and like that's what you're hearing now. A lot of this because you didn't hear that before because everybody sold all their stuff to the networks. So you didn't hear this. Oh, we're shopping around here, got canceled over here, but it's getting picked up over here because people are starting to move away from selling their creative art
soul
to the network. The soul. Yeah.
They're keeping their IP.
They're keeping it themselves. They're keeping their work to themselves and not giving it away.
But it means
that's why they're getting picked up at different stations now. Is because studios don't own the work,
and
it'll find a home.
Yeah,
right.
It means it's what you created can find a home.
Right. Yeah. So we have a team that they got together, and the marketing person who's down to go get sponsorships for us, down to shop to the networks for us. We have the money team together who. A couple people who love the idea and are willing to back us. We met with a production team. Can we?
No.
Okay. No. So
not until things are signed.
Oh yes, no. Actually, I want to switch gears, but
do it.
Early on, the first production team that we met was, and very publicly, I want to thank y'all, was those Cocos Locos.
It was.
Hands down. Yeah. Let's backdrop because we know the story at the table, but to anybody watching, they don't. We stumbled onto the people who were willing to invest and things like that. It just happened organically, happened by accident, and we just been making sure that okay, let's go with the pace that it's going with. But before that, TJ was able to connect with you two
through Ashley,
the AM Creative.
Shout out
to you, absolutely, and just end up in a room with like minds and same amount of passion, be willing to tell that story on a smaller scale. Like let's put these videos together on a YouTube base. Let's grow it on a very grassroots. When we stumbled on people who found value in the idea and started educating us on a way to monetize that content, that's how we got here. But when you mentioned the production company, absolutely, the first team that
the first thing was with these two right here. They said they're only going to be part of everything as we move forward, for sure.
And I want to say thank you because this entire conversation,
we saw the passion behind you guys. We're like, we're down, let's do it. Like,
I mean, you guys were hyped, and so they got us hyped, and we're like, let's do it.
But it's a very real, recognized, real, and y'all looked familiar right away. So I want to say that to your audience. In front of while I have you as an audience, thank you.
If you haven't seen their work, you haven't hired them for anything, I suggest you do it. We've hired them for photos. We're looking to hire them to go on the road with us if this is to get picked up. They're definitely going to be a big part of the Distillery Brothers for as long as we can ride this train if we get picked up.
Yeah.
I mean, and then any future work, we look to do together and get picked up, which we have a lot.
I'll drink to that.
So we met with a production company. I guess I'm not allowed to say the name.
No, I don't want to go there. But the next step was
so we have to get them the marketing packet, and we are looking to shoot a teaser possibly in August. we're gonna shoot an episode and then kind of slice it and kind of cut it down and send it off to networks to be sold. And if it was to get picked up, then I'm assuming it would be.
We're looking for 6 to 8 episodes. So if there are any distilleries that are interested in being highlighted in the way that we're talking about, please reach out, because we have the first 3 lined up. But after that, we want to tell very specific, unique stories, and we know they're out there and they're tied to these distilleries. We just want to give them the opportunity to show what happened before we put it in a barrel to a bottle, so people can enjoy their moments. How did y'all start?
And I think when people realize the stories behind it, you get different taste, you get different flavor, you get different everything too.
Different appreciation, I feel. Yeah.
And that's it. To me, that's what drinking responsibly is. Not
it's an appreciation.
Yeah, not a small phrase to coin to say don't drink and drive.
Right.
It's bigger than that, though that's true. It's that an appreciation for what it took to make it from farm to table.
Gotcha. Dang, man.
That's cool. Well, I'm excited for you.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
Super dope.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
So before we close, we have the final question.
This is where you get us again.
Yeah, this is where we get you guys.
This is where we get to again.
Yeah.
This is what we get. This is where we do the deer in headlights.
One at the beginning, one at the end. All right, here it is. Ready for this question? So, we like to keep it real on this podcast. So something we enjoy talking about is our struggles. So what is something that you're currently struggling with, and what's something that someone could help you with today? There it is. You ready? You can answer separately or together.
Yes, time management.
Time management.
Showing up.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Me too. I struggle.
Yeah. No,
go
ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll just mess with you. Go ahead.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors.
No, go ahead. We'll do it right here. Rock, paper, scissors. One time. Winner takes all. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Damn, I knew it. I'm a winner. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
You saw it. I seen it. I see what's happening. Go. And don't cop out and say I'm struggling with rock, paper, scissors.
Take that right out of my head.
Go ahead.
Struggling on me all you know what? I think I procrastinate sometimes. I think procrastination. But I think you start burning the bridges at both ends, where you're working one job during the day and then trying to work another job at night, and it's not even a job at night. It's a passion, because currently right now this is a passion. What we're doing. We're not getting paid for it. We're trying to get there. So whenever it's trying to find that balance and trying to figure out, because as much as you love working on the passion project, you also got to know that you got the day job. So it's a lot of it has to do with like a lot of procrastination, and just I gotta get better. I know I gotta get better at time management, because as much as I do all that, I find time I gotta go to the gym, meal prep. Yeah. And then
Same.
The meal prep. I gotta try to stay. You gotta try to fit. You can't look fat on the camera. You can't look bloated on the camera. So I'm already big as it is. So. It's trying to find. It's just trying to find that, because it's just like sometimes you just want to just sit there, like just forget the world.
Yep.
Yeah. Forget the world. I just want to lay down, go to bed, and just forget it all. But you can't. I mean, in reality, you're always going to be tired. You're always tired.
Yep.
It's just taking naps. That's it.
Yes.
That's what you get.
It is just taking naps.
You get to go to bed at 3. I'm trying to be up by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym. To be to work by 9.
It's all naps, bro.
Then it's taking a nap at like noon on my lunch break while eating, while I'm trying to do other, So it's just like I'm eating while I'm doing work. And I'm like, well, did you take a lunch break? Like, that was a nap. I took my nap. What I did do. So I mean, I think time. I definitely feel like time management is definitely one of the things that and just the struggle going to the gym. It's just, as you get older, it's just I try to push my body to a certain limit, and I'm just like, oh, cowboy, you ain't that young anymore. Easy.
Yeah.
You said like you was taking shots on the time management, but yeah, that really hits home. So when you say that's the hell of a question, real quick, that's good. You're good, you.
You're good, you. You was good, you.
To bring it more real, when you say struggle, time management in the sense I wear a lot of hats.
Yes, you do.
I do. So
Literally and
yes, I constantly do. This is very much a passion project. I'm also a father of 3. You do have that 9 to 5 that takes care of everything. But I try to bring that same passion to whatever I do. So even that 9 to 5, I want to bring that type of passion. I'd be remiss to not mention that I'm one half of a rap group called Fourth Quarter, and we're making strides, and I'm making some active progress in that area as well. And to make sure that everything is compartmentalized the right way is a struggle. So every once in a while, I owe it to the people I work with to be very open to constructive criticism and take those shots on the chin when he says time management and be like, okay, that was half.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I do got to manage my time better. I got to make sure I'm there for. I asked my son the other day, how am I doing as a father? And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, how am I doing? Like, that's who better to ask than him? Yeah. And he'll give me the pointers. And he'll be like, yeah, well, you can do better over here. You know, you're doing good over here. All right, I'll take that. If I lay a verse down right after that, I'm gonna go to my mans and be like, look, how did it come out the way we needed to for the greater good? I'm gonna go to my spouse and be like, what are your needs, and am I meeting them? And when she says no, all right, cool. How far am I from the mark? Because I know those are some of the things that are gonna fall by the wayside. And then you still got to keep the ship going. So I'm gonna get that annual review and wonder, why did I or did I not get whatever raise that I was hoping that's gonna fund everything all these passion projects that's gonna take care of everything. It took me a minute just to manage the time that it took to say that shit. So to live it is a struggle, but it's a work in progress. And Kweli used to hit me one time. He had an album called Beautiful Struggle, and that stuck with me. It's a struggle, but it's a beautiful struggle. There's something beautiful at the end of it when the picture all gets done, and we still painting it along the way.
Because
wow, that was nice. That was nice. That was a good like statement there.
Yeah. Oh, no, thank you for the question. Coconut fire.
Coconut fire.
You know, I think, I don't know what Steve Harvey or somebody said, you know, whenever you're doing something you love, it's not work. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like the stuff that we're doing, this passion project, I can do this forever and it won't be work for me. I love it. I can be on the road traveling and doing all this, and you know, as he looked at me and, you know, like that trip to the Tennessee, you know, which started this whole thing off, say, man, I do it all day long, and I just keep it rolling, you know, because to me, this is not work, it's fun, and I enjoy it. And even though I'm up late doing the research and it's tiring and things like that, it's the knowledge you get and the history. And you know, that's the thing is, you know, part of me is kind of a history buff, and you know, the Ernest Green story was a big home, because you know Jack Daniels was good. I love their whiskey, and to hear where this is coming from and to know that Ernest Green, they opened up a new line called Uncle Ernest 1862, and within 2 years it's in 50 different countries or something like that.
Wow.
It's a big growing market, and hopefully we can get with her and the CEO of it, and get with her and talk with her about it and get more history on Uncle Ernest. But yeah, it's hopefully, you know, we're crossing our fingers. You know, we're staying humble about it, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, if we go through the process, we've got a big education about it. And if this was not to get picked up, we're still going to pursue this. We're going to do our thing together, and we'll get it up out there, and hopefully somebody else will see it, and maybe we'll get picked up from there. But no matter what, we're going to try to find a way to tell these stories, because it's stories that I feel that definitely need to get told and get brought out there. So
that's dope. Hey, well, thank you, Distillery Brothers, for taking the time, being on the podcast. You guys
Eric and TJ.
It.
I don't think we actually said Eric and TJ.
Eric's on that.
Absolutely,
follow us on the Distillery Brothers on Instagram.
Yes.
We got some pictures up. We don't have too much content up, but I definitely...
We're going to get some more very soon.
We got something there. We gotta edit the meeting with the production company, so names not in there, and production names not in there. But we're getting some more content up as things go by. So, but definitely follow us. You'll be helping us out a lot, and appreciate it.
All right.
And if there are, and I'm sure there are, if there are any distilleries out there that stumbled onto this after you're done watching this, one, go back and watch every Dos Cocos Locos podcast.
Yes.
I know it. I just
Got
got to make
it.
sure I get the alliteration right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But as far as this is concerned, please feel free to reach out to them, reach out to us, so that we can help tell your story.
Yes.
Yes.
Amen.
We are the Distillery Brothers.
There we go.
That was so good.
All right.
All right, peeps. Don't forget to like, comment,
Share.
review. There's like 5 other things we're supposed to say.
Subscribe
And subscribe.
to the podcast.
There's like a list that we go through every time. I always
do
forget.
all those things.
Do all the things.
And
all the
we'll
things.
see you on the next episode.
Yes.
Peace.
Bye.
Before we end this podcast, I just want to give a huge shout out to EV47. He's the one that made the beat for the beginning and end of this podcast. So you should definitely check him out because he's dope. And yeah, peace.
Yes.